The last of President Trump's criminal cases related to the 2020 presidential election is now officially over. That means Trump will not be facing any more charges related to his alleged election interference now or ever. And neither will any of his alleged co-conspirators. That's because just this morning, today, November 26th, a judge in Georgia officially dismissed the Fulton County RICO case President Trump was facing. Now, remember, it all started with this phone call to Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, right after the 2020 election.
So, look, all I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
But the judge didn't just dismiss this case randomly on his own today. He dismissed the entire case because of this motion filed in Fulton County Superior Court this morning by the prosecutor who took over the case from Fulton County DA Fani Willis. So that's confusing. Let me just back up for a second, because you probably lost track of this case a while ago. So Fani Willis was removed from heading up the prosecution of this RICO case against Trump and 18 of his alleged co-conspirators because of an improper relationship she had with the prosecutor she put in charge of the case. She appealed and was fighting this removal, and finally, in September of this year, the Georgia Supreme Court declined to hear her case. That meant a new prosecutor had to take over. And just less than 2 weeks ago, on November 14th, another prosecutor took over. An unelected, nonpartisan attorney from the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia stepped in, a guy named Peter Skandalakis. And today, Skandalakis filed this motion with the Georgia court, saying after a thorough examination of the case file, he has decided not to move forward with prosecuting this case against Trump or his co-conspirators any further. Now, it's important for you to understand that Skandalakis isn't declining to prosecute because he thinks Trump and his alleged co-conspirators are not guilty. He's not saying they are guilty either. He's just saying he's deciding not to prosecute for several reasons that he details in this 22-page attachment to his court filing. Now, one of the main reasons is because of logistics. Skandalakis says the law prohibits the prosecution of a sitting president of the United States. And since Trump was reelected, he is now the sitting president. So this case logistically cannot move forward. So you may be thinking, but what about when Trump is out of office in 2029? Why can't the prosecution happen then? Well, Skandalakis addresses that too. He says there may be statute of limitation problems because by the time the case actually sees a jury trial, it could be the year 2031. And even then, he says, if it happened then, it would be a remarkable feat. If it happened in 2031, it would be more than 11 years after the alleged misconduct took place. Plus, Skandalakis cited the Supreme Court case that makes presidents immune from criminal prosecution for actions that they may take while conducting the duties of their office. Another reason for not moving forward with this prosecution, according to Skandalakis, is because of what he calls the basic truth. He says that it is not illegal to question or challenge the results of an election, which absolutely is a fact. He talks about all the legal ways in which candidates can challenge the results of an election. He writes that lots of candidates do that. He points to Stacey Abrams' challenge to Brian Kemp's gubernatorial victory in Georgia. He says, likewise, in 2020, many Republicans struggled to accept the reality that President Donald J. Trump did not win the popular vote in Georgia or in other key states and therefore lost the presidential race. He says, struggling to accept reality in this case doesn't necessarily translate to illegal behavior. As for that call with Raffensperger that I shared at the beginning of this video, Skandalakis says the call itself was absolutely concerning, and Trump repeatedly raised unsubstantiated and disproven allegations of voter fraud, but Trump did not explicitly solicit the Secretary of State to violate his oath of office. Skandalakis says what Trump said on that call can be interpreted in different ways, and when there is a question, prosecutors should give the defendant the benefit of the doubt that they were not behaving criminally. Unless, of course, direct evidence proves otherwise. The other main reason why Skandalakis says he will not be moving forward with this prosecution is that, in his view, this is a federal case. He believes that this should never have been prosecuted in the state court. Of course, there was a federal election interference case brought against Donald Trump by special counsel Jack Smith, but that case was also dropped after the Supreme Court presidential immunity ruling and after Trump won the 2024 election. So if you want to read this court filing from Skandalakis, I will email it out to you tonight in my Facts HQ email, so make sure you sign yourself up.